Yo, folks, anybody out there? Figured I'd just do a track breakdown. I don't know, maybe 30 or 40 minutes. Shouldn't take too long, but figured I'd go over it. If you're just connecting in, I've got the project files available over on Patreon. You can, if you, as long as you just join up, you can grab them. You don't need to pay anything. Free download. And let's see, just trying to click the needful buttons here, and then we'll be off and at it. All right, I think we're good. B Jammin, how's it going, man? Uh, yeah, it's a fun little device here. I don't know. I've been having a blast with it. I had the Model One, and when the Model 2 got announced, I was like, I need to totally pick this up. Anyway, I'm going to start here. Let's go actually up. I'm going to go load the early version because the newer, really the difference between the version 1 and 2 was just mostly doing some mixing, limiting, and like kind of playing around some stuff. But I mean, this is what I initially kind of did as a early track. So, a ton of energy, whole lot of stuff going on here. You're listening. It is a 4-bar loop, and I don't know. I was just like, I tried doing some things a few times in like Ableton and some other stuff, and was like, I don't know, like I'm not feeling it. So, but kind of did this on the M8 and was like, you know what? I feel like I can make a full track out of it, and um, yeah, what I usually do, and I think a lot of other people do this usually, is just kind of start each track up top with like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. I mean, you can just go 0, 0, 0, 1 and stuff, but I do this way because I usually am trying to think what is each track, or like what's that major number versus the larger versus smaller number, or first versus second. So like I was like, here, I'm just want to do a kick pattern. It's nothing like super crazy, but from there, snare, could be claps, hats. So kind of just moving stuff around. And then you'll see here, like usually I would use that fourth track for some percussion or something, but this actually turned into some melodic content. This is the bass. And I'll get into a couple things. Actually, let me go over to here. Yeah, you'll see like the TSP call. So PH is the phrase. It's just the 16th or 16 steps, basically, 16th notes. What's being played for like the notes, C1, C sharp 1. The TSP here is the transpose. And that is basically 0, 0. It's just going to use whatever those notes are that are there. 7 means I'm going up 7 notes. 4 means I'm going up 4 notes. And 0A means I'm going up 10 notes. Now, that's not exactly always true, because what I have here is the scale. So I've set the scale at G sharp major. So anything that actually lands as a note in G sharp major is going to be kind of mapped into that. So it's the only reason I'm mentioning this, and there's a few weird side effects based on what I've done here because of the scale here that don't actually make sense, or actually it's not forcing a scale per se because I'm actually using chops, but it leads to some, I'll say, unintentional or intentional forced decisions here. But yeah, the idea here was just kind of take these chops and use the transpose to have the exact same pattern here where it goes C1, C sharp 1, and where it says TSP 0, 0, it is here not making any change. With a going 1 up, this all of a sudden becomes, C sharp 1, and going up 1 from C sharp 1 would be D. I don't know, a G sharp major, minor, whatever scale I did. It sometimes might push things into other note categories. Go back to 0, 0 and then 0, 6. So I'm literally using one pattern here, or one phrase, and getting it to move and do some stuff without having to do a whole lot of work. So I didn't have to come in and just kind of keep grinding at it. It was more like, oh, if I slide it up this far, this is like where it's grabbing chops. And I'll show how this all works as we break down, but just all kind of foundational information for what's going on here. Similarly, got like this, so a chain is made up of one or more phrases. Like this might be what we would consider like a pattern over on the SP404 Mark II, or like a track kind of like a part of the track in a sequence on the MPC. So the phrase here is literally just 16 notes, and each one is by default you get 16 notes. Each one would be by default a 16th note. So it's really just one bar. The easiest way to say it is like by default this is one bar, and with that one bar, what you're doing is kind of stringing them together up to 16 bars in this chain here. And again, like these don't have to be the same phrase. They can be like all kinds of different stuff. So yeah, 16 steps, 16th notes in one bar, like however you want to kind of think about it in your head. Like I guess that's the right way to do it. You can actually also issue commands to hop around. So like you could make these polyrhythmic and do like other fun stuff. I just didn't do it in this track at all. But yeah. Got this kind of like wonky sound, and this is another one. You can see it just starts on 0, 0. It's really just firing off what I thought sounded like interesting chops in the this progression, and then kind of just using the transpose to shuffle around where it's grabbing those chops. And the last one here was like the phrase 1F. So basically you just start from 0, 0 and work your way through as many. This goes up to FF, which is 200, or FE. So you can get up to 255 phrases or 255 bars. So again, like this is actually like a chorus. So what we got for Dibia session 25 was, I want to say like 7 or 8 stems for a track. And you got kind of like the mix, so you can listen to it. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with it, but yeah. So you can see here, the song is really just a series of saying which chain to play. The chains do not actually have to be any particular length. So like whatever chain here, you can have them all be different lengths. I like to have them be the same length traditionally, just to do a more traditional arrangement, which means all of these have to be, because I said that I'm working in 4 bars, these all have to be 4 long just to me, so that I have like 4 bars or 4 measures going on here. And even like the FD here is 4, and it's light gray because what it's telling you is there's like no note data in it, but that's sort of not true. I have an off. So what I've been doing, and like you'll see a lot of people suggest doing, is set up a FD that will start with a phrase that just issues an off command and kill commands. This is just to make sure if you have any effects running, or if you have any notes, like you at least stop the note from running on forever, because you can have stuff where it just goes crazy and you're like, that is not what I wanted. And I can show you a couple places where this happens. But basically, the FD that at the top here, it issues a stop running all of the stuff and anything else in this track, and then the FEs are letting it run through. And the reason why I have FE as well is this is just taking those empty tracks. It's just completely empty. It doesn't do anything, but it being 4 bars long means that it will stay in sync with everything. So sometimes I actually want to issue a command and say, like, let it, like it could be a loop. I can fire off a loop and then forget about it, and just sit, like if it's a 16 bar loop, what I could do is just like fire something off at the top here, and then like I would have 3 more, or the 2 FEs would just be like Yep, it's going to keep playing, keep doing its own thing, whether this is a filter sweep or anything else. And I've done a few of these where you'll kind of see. So, back to up top, what you'll usually see in the tracks that I do, I will start with, as I said, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. By adding in like the 12, this is just a variation that I wanted to do of the kick as an example. An 11's the same, 14. I don't think I did went up to 15. Nah, did not. So just kind of yeah. So it's like dropping out a part of the song. Like the FDs, like you could have it drop out on an FE. So like you don't want to overly think about what it's doing. But if you see like if somebody's using this paradigm or pattern for FDs and FEs, it's usually telling you it's stop everything. So like the reason why I have FDs here at the top is when you play from the top on the M8, when it gets down to the bottom, it will then loop back over and kick back off up at the top. So if I do actually have like a delay or echo or something that like, or just a sample going, this is just making sure that it actually comes to a complete stop and starts back up again. So like you'll hear on here, it's kind of got a few different sounds going on. So the 92, actually I'll get to that in a second. 40 here is it the same one? I think it is. Yeah. It's just gonna be whatever was here. I actually moved it, the 40s over here because I basically started doing 90s because I wanted to do some. This is where, as I said, I usually use track 4 for percussive, just kind of like random stuff. And I'd already used the 40s for this sound and wanted to just make this be more percussive. And I had enough space in the track column to just kind of squeeze the 4s in there. It would just mean management wise, it doesn't terribly matter if you don't have anything funky going on with your mixer. And all my mixer settings are exactly equal. It basically means that I can put whatever I want in any track and not worry about it too much, and kind of mix and match stuff around. So this is almost like this like kind of weird scratching sound. Was just one pattern I did and just played it. The chance is effectively a command that's just getting run that if you look here, it just means that the pitch or the note command being run has a 60% chance to run. Yeah, it's got a 60% chance to hit the note basically or play it. So it was just an easy way to layer in some having something that it is effectively the same pattern, but it sounds different as it plays across like 4 bars or multiple times. As I said, this is just kind of the same thing going on. Now, as I said, I'll show you on the instrument here. Couple things. I set it to 32 slices was one thing I had to do. Or I didn't have to. I could have set to any number, but it just sounded good to me as 32 slices. And the rep BPM basically is telling it to play repitched so that it will match the BPM. And we knew from what was provided for the samples that it was 172 BPM for the sample, and I'm playing it at 162. So it's kind of at an odd shift for the sample. I have used I do actually like using the P6 with the M8. The OPXY in the OP1 field aren't too bad either. I do like the Launchpad Pro Mark III as well. So yeah, I use that kind of stuff. Couple things with a sample. I had to crop all of these samples out because they all started with a bit of silence, and that actually did cause the chopping some issues. So I had to crop them and then resave them to get this to all kind of line up and work. But yeah, if I play the original sample, this is what it is. As I said, I think it's just, I just told the M8 to chop it at 32 because that seemed like it sounded melodically interesting, I guess, even though there's like a whole bunch of emptiness at the end here. But with the 32 chops and with the repitch, this is how we get this kind of sound going on. I did drop also this volume 00 because I was running some FX chain stuff at the end of the song to have it fade out. And if I didn't put the volume 00 at the beginning, when it came and looped back over, this would actually not be making any sound. So just, I don't know, like a few weird random notes. This one here is, I basically wanted 2 empty bars. I didn't want anything playing, so that it basically takes 2 bars to start playing this, and that's where we get kind of here. So you hear like that, this build up for like that pulsing sound, and I have it going through a delay, so you can see here, it just doesn't, the reason why the FEs are here is just so it doesn't play anything, and then it just kind of builds up. This was part of the track, so similarly, I wanted to have like a kick drum roll and like to kind of blast into the next part of the track. So 3 bars of FEs, so we don't have any kicks, and then it goes into here. And the reason why it's not playing this third one is, or this fourth one, is because the nth 30, which basically says on the 4th bar, play it. So technically I don't need that there, but like you'll hear, like it will actually play it this time. But if I just kind of come in, because it hasn't like iterated over, it just gets skipped. Which that's kind of the pattern that I was looking for like this basic kind of kick pattern. No snares. The hats are kind of a variation where I'm just putting the hats through a light delay just to kind of give it almost like some ghost notes or something. And the cut E0 is basically taking the filter and kind of cutting it down a bit. And this is another chance, right? Like the chance is basically saying 33% of the time it will play the note on the left, and it will always play the delay on the right. So I could get more complicated here, but this was like one that I just wanted to have something where, again, it would just kind of change or get mixed up a bit organically here. You can do some really cool organic ambient stuff with the M8 for sure. Like generative kind of things, or just like picking and choosing. It's got really good pitch control and stuff. Yeah, so this is just extending off another 4 bars of like, kind of like those random whether or not plays like this weird, almost like scratchy, weird percussive kind of sound. Here we go into, what did I do different here? Oh, so this is just, this was actually, I think, 16 bars when I was just messing around with it at first. I was just using transposes to find different slices out of the audio. So basically it's, again, the exact same pattern, but it's just picking, it's being pushed out later into the slices, which gives it, you know, it's the same sound, but it's just picking slices that are further out. And then I wanted to do, I got it took a while for me to get to it. This was like one of the last things I did was adding in the vocal, but I just grabbed, I want to say this is out of like the, Zero G, like Urban Warfare or something.
This is a real murder tune.
So it's just this. I just chopped it, gave it 4 chops. Like it sounded good enough without having to do a whole lot of work to chop it. And basically, what's happening is
this is a real murder. This is
it's just basically playing. It's firing it off, and then the only reason why it's getting choked, so it's kind of like the MPC gating, right? Like if you play the note a second time, it's going to stop playing and start playing again. So with the C4 here, it is basically playing, and then this is set to 1 and or nth 80 says play it on the first and third time. So you get kind of like this ability where it's like playing it off note. And then this one says on the second note pass through, it triggers this. And then this one is on the left, it plays it on the second pass through. On the right, it actually sends it to a delay, which is why we get a delay on that fourth note. So you can kind of hear it
This is a
change.
real murder. This is a real murder. This is a real murder. This.
So again, like I don't know, you can say it's being lazy or something, but I'm usually trying to look at how can I take one phrase and get either 2, 4, 8, or sometimes even like 16 bars worth of usage out of it by really just running like a few simple commands and like let it just kind of keep changing up and doing some fun stuff. So there's that. This is just another. This is actually the. What did I change here? If I go back for 10, yeah, 10 doesn't have that like extra kick here, and this one is set to nth. So this is more the chopped drum and bass version, and I don't know, like I don't know if I'd call it like breakbeat or something, but it's kind of like more of a it's a lower energy kind of beat because I wanted to have something that would kind of change, like be a little bit, feel a little bit slower, a little bit less intensity before dropping into the drum and bass part. But you know, again, like this is just using the exact same hi hat pattern, and oh, so this one is. Let me go to edit. So this is what this like these cymbals sound like without or like kind of like just a. I think I could pull this other drum and bass stuff. It's like a basic ride, nothing like super exciting. The repitch BPM again is forcing this down into the 162 BPM that I have the whole track running at, which is why. So like basically I just fired off, and in this case it's just getting fired off, and because it's being repitched, the notes are basically landing where they would if I had chopped them up and then reprogrammed it. Yeah, for sure. Like it's all just kind of like taking your time, being patient, and figuring stuff out. So this is kind of like this weird. It's a Rhodes initially. This sounds like, but the repitching that I did, like, just really took it into like a weird. I just took it into a weird sound. So that's kind of how we got here. And again, like the transposes here are just kind of pulling different chops out of this. The M8 absolutely does export stems. If I just go up here, we go export, and we can do render, and you can do mixed or stems, and it will give you out the stems for the track. So if you've done what I've done here, you're going to end up with like kind of mixed stems, but totally workable, and you can bring them into like Ableton Live or Fruity Loops or something to work with after. Where else did I go weird here? Yeah, it's like a plain old. Oh, that's right. I didn't want that drum and bass kind of double tap here, so I created this. As I said, I was kind of going just to try and get more of a breakbeat kind of feel for like these drums. Not doing anything super special. This one was just I think just picking more different sounds here. I wasn't basically just kind of saying like 0, 7, 8, 10, and then here's 4, 7, 2, 7, just to have something that's just different. And then here's where I wanted to have a variation on the vocals. So what's going on here is I'm playing it at C4, so it's pitched at the default speed that the sample's played at. The slice 01 is basically saying, if I come back to the clip and edit it, why is it not? Okay. I guess it's just not rendering quite right. Anyway, you can kind of see here. So I've got 4 chunks here. So by saying slice 1, it is now firing from this spot in the sample instead of from the beginning. So it's just how I get like this sound where... So and I just kind of, I could have probably taken this out and let it keep playing through, but I think when I was listening to it, wasn't quite lining up right. So I wanted to make sure that the third slice came in at the halfway, and then as you can see, I just drop in a delay here to have it kind of get that echo sound. Yeah, I mean, like you could totally export this stuff into Koala as well. But yeah, this is the FE just basically says keep playing afterwards. So we get this. Actually, the FE's, there's an off here first. I guess I could have put the FD or something, but it doesn't matter. It did what I wanted. 14, I wanted to have like a serious drum roll to come into. So you can see here 2A, this probably should just be FE, FE, FE. And then what's going on is basically just playing the note twice. This note within the rep 06 says repeat it. It's basically telling it to repeat the note 2 times. And then this is saying, oh, this is actually, maybe this is like unnecessary. Yeah, this one's saying play it twice, and I think this one's saying play it 4 times. So you get kind of like that, almost like that quick drum roll getting fired off. So it kind of just goes. And that's where I'm like, okay, now I can start dropping into kind of a little bit more energy. So, you know, bringing in the bass and stuff. Again, like this is, I did the same thing with the bass. It's just another repitch. A thing to note why I went with, I'm doing repitch on all these stems as well, is because they were all the same BPM and they were all in tune with each other. By doing just a repitch BPM, it takes away my ability to pitch the samples themselves. They're just going to play at whatever sound they're repitched to afterwards. But at that point, I'm just kind of choosing what slices or where I'm walking through the pattern. So like this is the original sound. So that was like that's the 808 there, and then with all this goofiness I'm doing, I've cooked the signal here with amp post W3. Got the low pass filters like pretty low on this, just to, I don't know, like change up the sound, make it a little bit more extreme. A little more rough edges. And again, another just a transpose trick. So it's not actually transposing the song up or down. It's just choosing what, changing the chops that are being used to kind of get away with some stuff here. And from here, we're just kind of, I don't think there's anything like super exciting until we get like from kind of like this, drop that we go into. Oh, that's right. I forgot. I have like this fun pitch thing that I fire off. No, not here. Where is it? B. There we go. So what's happening? I've got 24 FE, so it's going to just run it, and then whatever it rolls into, oh, it's an off, so it's not rolling into anything. It's going to do the same thing again, and then I wanted to roll into the pitch. So I'll show you these, but get the echo. So what's happening is this part was actually a bit of programming. So I basically go pitch up 2, then pitch up another 2, then pitch up another 2, another 2, another 2, and another 2. So it's kind of like that rapid. We kind of go into a fairly fast, but then rapid fire, pitching it up and just dumping it into the delay. So it's a send. SDL is just send delay. I'm firing it into the delay so that we get that like echo kind of sound, which leads us to, you'll hear it kind of echo in. And then when I come here, what I've actually did, I was initially playing around with having the vocals still in here, but it helped a lot to actually leave the space. So the FE on the vocals is to say, like, for the first bar and the third bar, we don't play any vocals. And then I just kind of carried with the echoes. So you can hear it's like fire it off, get an echo, but it's not pitched. And we're just goofing around with different slices and stuff here. I know I have some, I got some fun fade outs in here as well. Maybe it's at the end or at the end. So I'll just kind of go over here. This is the original sound chopped, I think. It's unpitched. And up here is where I think I pitched it. Yeah, I pitched it down an octave. I just figured it'd be a fun way to use this. I'm usually looking at how do I use the same patterns or similar patterns and just kind of change one or two aspects of it to keep them interesting without having to do like a ton of work. Here we go. So this is one where you're going to hear, it's going to fade out. And the way this works is it's doing the same pattern for grabbing chops as something I did before. And I played it, but the reason why I needed new phrases is I can't, when I fire this volume 00, basically this is saying play it, it's a relative value, so it's saying just play it at whatever volume the track is at. Then the rep F8, if I hit edit here, you can see it's going down by -2. So it's basically dropping the volume like 2 dB like fairly quickly. And it just basically the rep says, just keep dropping it. And like every step or so, it's just dropping it down. So it keeps dropping until we get about around here somewhere where you can't hear it in the second bar. So there's probably not a whole lot of reason to keep the other stuff here. They could have been FEs, but I just, as I said, I just did a copy paste and drop it in. So we get like this. And the reason why I can't use 0D again is if I did, it would reset the volume back to 0 and then start fading. I think I did something similar. I think maybe it's on the version 2. Let me go get to let's go load it up. I spent some time trying to like clean up a few of these things and get like proper fade outs. Maybe I didn't do it. Anyway, whole track is this.
This is a real murder. This is a real murder. This is
Oh, that was another loop on 91. And as I said, I put the FDs in here just so that it wouldn't just, when I recorded this off, it wouldn't just kind of go off into outer space, flip back to the beginning, and then I have to go chop it. So, and I forget what the 63 is here for. Oh, okay. So for 60, I think if we, basically what's happening, if I remember correctly, yeah. This is still playing when we fire into 63, and then basically the volume 00 rep F8 is just like taking that sample that's still playing and just doing the same thing where it's starting at full volume and then slowly fading it down, which is how you'll hear that line going. So it's kind of fading out there. I forget why 95. Oh, so this is like the same sound, but it's just another one where it's like I wanted to be random and also kind of force it to fade out. So once the volume comes out, you can hear the rep F8 is just forcing that sound down. I think, yeah, this is just a different sample. Oh no, was that the ride? I thought I had another one in here. 92? No? I don't know, I'm losing my mind. Nah, I guess it's just the two. Anyway, I don't know if that helps anybody out. Hopefully it at least partially makes sense for folks that don't have a M8 or haven't worked with trackers before. But it's a lot of just kind of trying to work your way through what patterns you want. The patterns, honestly, when you're doing your phrases, look an awful lot like XOX style setting up patterns, and the chains are kind of the link for how you're pulling them together to make stuff work. And there's just all kinds of crazy, once you kind of understand what the commands are that you can run in the FX lines, you can really get a lot of, you can simplify some ideas and just also make things more complicated while still reusing a lot of what you've put together. Like, and you can see here, like the bass, I didn't actually make a variation of the bass because I was like, it's fine. But like to make a variation wouldn't be terribly hard. Like I could do like if I want to do something here, Shift Enter, edit. Oh, I don't want to render it. Sorry. Shift Enter while holding Shift will clone the phrase and stuff. So like if I wanted to come in and add in like some extra notes, I just clone the pattern. It's not that hard to kind of grab some stuff. So, not that this is what I would want in the track, but this is a different song, but you get some like kind of crazy stuff going on without having to try too hard. So you're asking when I render out, I'm going to load this back up so I don't accidentally save on top of it. But when you render out the stems, is it rendering the song mode or from the chains or something else? So it's rendering when you render from song mode, if you do mixed, it's just taking the final output and mixing it all together for however you've told it to mix it. When you do a render of stems, it's taking the tracks. So whatever's in like track 1, which in this case happens to be all kick drums, I'm going to end up with a stem that is all kick drums. For track 2, you can see here, it's just like this is just all the snares. This is all hats, so I'm going to end up with a hat chain. Then this is like my, I don't know, percussion chain. So I'll get a percussion. Then this is where it'll get weird for track 5. Because this is this synth here, and it's also this bass. So when I render track 5, I mean, it'll be totally fine because they're just different. They're distinct enough. They're not like echoing into each other. I know, like, I'm sure I could grab this in a Ableton Live or something and just chop it up real easy. But like this one has both those sounds, so I can't assume track 5 is just my bass in this case. Um, Similarly, track 6 is just like this kind of like piano chord part. Um, then we've got like this fun one that's like this I don't want to say riser, but like it's kind of like that idea where it's kind of dropping in, building up, like the alarm kind of sound. But it's also got this. So I would have to come in and make sure I'm at least paying attention to what I'm doing here to kind of work with it. And then it also has this vocal. So the part I'd be the most worried about is we're going to come into this, whoops, we got like this riser with like a bit of echo on it, and it's going to echo into
This is a
this
real
vocal.
murder. This is a real murder.
Is it bad? No, it's just something you have to think about. So if you decide, if I was like really worried about it, I'd probably reorganize or put stuff in differently, or just kind of copy some of this stuff out and make a second chunk here that was the things that I wanted to separate out and break out. Basically, what happens when you export your stems is you tell it where you, I don't know why it's doing that. Anyway, when you're exporting your stems, or even the mix, you tell it where you want it to start, and it just goes until there's no more um, chains that are listed. So, like, I could skip one and then set up like from 19. I could go down. I could copy this whole thing down and then just separate out the stems and then just tell it to render from there instead to kind of deal with some of these problems that if I'm working in a DAW or something that I might foresee having, but still should be good. Hey, Big Tower. Yeah. Figured I'd just go over this. I don't know if I have any other tracks or fun stuff, but let's see. Oh, I was gonna mention like the final mix. Mostly what I did for mixing stuff was trying to just go tweak some of the instruments. I do try personally, as I said, I try and keep all of these at E0. There's a few reasons for this. One is, as you can kind of see here pretty quickly, as I'm mixing stuff into the different tracks to make room for what I need, if I have like the 40s mixed in with like 92, I can't when it's just like in a DAW. Like if you have like a mixed group or something, you will end up accidentally making something lower in volume or louder based on what track it's in. So by just keeping all of this the same, it is much easier to just force myself to fix the sounds in one of two other places, which is in here in the instrument, basically adjusting the drive level here among like pan or other stuff. So I'm kind of forcing myself to come here, or if I want like, and this is like if I just want an overall clip volume or sample volume or instrument volume. And then obviously if I want like a relative volume to change, I can just do it in this V column by adjusting the volume. Like by default, it's 64. So you can see like here, like I just knocked these down to 44s because I didn't want them to be so loud. I probably have them louder. Yeah, like this is a 74, so I went above the 64 to make this ride louder. But if I had come in and knocked down, if I knocked down the volume in this track and just made it like B0, then I would also be making the other one quieter and causing myself some heartburn coming in later. So that's one reason why I prefer to not mess with the mixer. Similarly, if I want to have like faders or something, like let's say I want to play, let's say I want to play this entire mix. If I wanted to take this or break down some of the other stuff and make this so I could play it out live, if I've come in and messed with these, it's going to make it very hard for me to use either some MIDI controller or something else that would give me like fader controls to adjust this, because I'm not going to know where like everything's even across the board. I'm going to be having to it puts more cognitive load on trying to manage mixing while also playing stuff live. So it's just kind of a reason why I try to avoid using the mixer settings here for that. Why did I start on 08? Usually what I do is I'll use like the first like chunk of stuff here for building up some loops. And as I said, like if you have like an immediate track afterwards, it's gonna just fall into it. So if I even just doing this, let's say I do this, this. It's going to come in, and for anything on the left half, it's going to follow into the 0, 0. Actually, it's going to prove me a liar because there's nothing in it. Let me change these to FEs. If I go like this, and the reason why the 0, 0 wasn't working is there's no phrases in it, so there's just nothing for it to play. So if I do this, after the 4 bars, it is going to drop into, there we go. So it's going to go into these for 4 bars, and then it's going to knock back up again. So like the reason why I'm doing this is I'm usually on the M8 using like track 0, 0 through 0, 6-ish to just get ideas down and not think much about arrangement, but like what sounds good together. Like I got like a bunch of examples. I can probably let's go back to my go to songs. Let's see. Just trying to see if there's like maybe this. Well, anyway. I mean, it doesn't terribly matter. Like, this is one that doesn't have a song in it right now. So, I don't know. Just been trying to, like, mess with something. I was like, this sounds, like, decent. Well, like, to me, I'm listening to it right now. I'm like, there's a few things that sound a little atonal or off. But I might, you see here, like, I did an 81. So, what is this? Oh, this is me messing around with doing some SP404 Mark II automation. So, let's go try something else. Let's see what this looks like. Well, this is one that, I think I was live streaming this. So you can see here, I have 2 empty tracks. The 40 and 80 doesn't have anything in it. So I was just kind of messing around, trying to see. And then I just started copying stuff down and working out variations for things for like what I wanted to do. So if you think about it this way, I'm giving myself 0, 0, 0, 2, 0, 4, and 0, 6 as sections that can be separated without having to think about like kind of what the next piece is. And I can build myself out like some different, a variety of different things or reuse things and kind of copy it down. So sometimes you'll see some of these where I'll have 4 rows of just different stuff and then just start peeling it down to build out at least skeleton out a track. Like this one I would say is it's an idea. Like there's like a lot of stuff I like here, but it's just not completed. So you'll hear it's like it's not fully coherent. Basically I just kind of kept copying stuff. I'm like, oh, what would be the next cool thing to go to? Like this would require me like actually thinking about like how do I want to break out the drums a little bit so that they're a little bit easier to work with. Like the pad and the ARP is fine. So, yeah, so I think it sounds like just listening to this, I was kind of messing around with some different like drum patterns to see what I could do with like what existed there already. Pad patterns change a little bit. I feel like the bass is the same. I didn't mess with that much. So, anyway, I don't know, is there any... I've been doing a lot of drum and bass stuff on this lately. Here's one. Yeah, this is another one. It's like... Well, this is me messing around with SP404 Mark II effects again, so... I don't have the SP404 Mark II hooked up to it, but... This is like, yeah, it's playing the... Oh, this is actually rendered out. So, one of the previous videos I was doing, or maybe it's coming up, I can't remember. I think I posted the video showing how to render stuff out. But basically, this, I rendered it out into an effect box and basically just kind of messed with it by playing the, writing the effects by hand. So you can do all kinds of fun stuff with this thing. I think I posted this one up on SoundCloud. I kind of got to the point where I was like, all right, I think I'm done with it. So again, like just trying to like find stuff, get some sounds and things going.
I'm right.
Oh, I think I was messing around with some vocals. I don't think they get it to the track. I think I was just testing something. But again, it's just like another... the 08 is really just where I'm usually just out of a habit kind of starting the song. So I don't know, does that help you out enough, I guess is the question. Oh, this one's like one that I want to get back to. And here's an example, right? Like, get this, which I'm like, okay, I like the energy of this. I like the way it all sounds and comes together, and then started just kind of doing some variations. Which, this could be like a breakdown, or maybe maybe this is like an area to start and then build up to more of a drum and bass or something, but this is me just kind of messing with the sounds. I think this is probably the exact same. Probably like... Yeah, this one, the reason why this is getting this like weird, like chopped off sound is basically I'm hitting the kick and then immediately doing like a ghost note almost after it, but because it hasn't finished going through the kick, it just gives it like this weird, I don't want to say flanging, but it gives it like, it steals the energy from the note. Whereas this is just kind of like a little bit more in your face. So really just been, again, this is another one just like trying to mess around. And this one is just dropping. Plays on the first and third. So on the second and fourth, it's not going to play. Whereas here, just always plays. I bet you, yeah, okay. This one has a retrigger that can go up to 116 and has a chance of whatever 36 is, 21% chance. So it basically just has a chance. I've basically given it a random chance to fire off kind of a ratchet almost. And we can hear like, and it'll do it for the full 4 steps. I'm pretty sure it does it here too. Yeah. So for both versions, it will do that. It'll be harder to hear in like this more fully mixed version. So like if I was trying to be serious, I'd probably come through and for like 40, think about what I want to do to like chop this up or mix it up. This is clearly just firing off a loop, and I didn't have any like other option for it. Yes, the starting like the 08 where I was showing you before is kind of like just like it's the start of the song and then kind of going through. Whereas I'd say like the top half here, I'm kind of using like my Ableton Live clip palette, maybe. Is a way to think about it if you're coming from Ableton Live or like on the Force where you a Kai Force where you get like just different clips you can launch and kick off. Like this one, I guess like I could foresee making a variation of that might go down here, but I just didn't get to it. So this one is actually, like this transpose is actually transposing those notes up. So you can hear them changing. And then, so it's basically just firing off one, then it goes second, third, and then on the 4th bar, you can see here on the nth, it fires off these 3 on the 4th, which is how we get like, it's going up 5, down 2, then up 4 again. So again, like this, as I said, this is just finding ways to take one phrase and get absolutely as much juice out of it as I can. And like a fun thing you can do with the M8, I keep accidentally doing the shift left to go into live mode, but in live mode, you can choose to like fire off tracks. So I can play this live, shift, and then the play will stop it. So like I can mix through this stuff, right? Because I'm keeping everything in the same key. This is easier to do with the launch pad, but I mean, just showing you, like, if you, this is like another area where kind of keeping like the first chunk open means I could like load up a project and start playing a song and making a remix of it or something if I wanted to. Now, if I want to get like really crazy, I'd want to probably program in like some of like the rolls or like other stuff to bridge in. But again, like you can see, like I haven't thought that far ahead. Anyway, I guess I'm gonna drop here. But thanks everybody for stopping by. Keep making music, keep having fun. Remember, if it sounds good, it is good.